starting on Reish Pei Vav Amud Aleph. We're in Siman Taf Chav Vav, and we are up to Seif Beis, the bottom line on Reish Pei Vav Amud Aleph.
Okay.
Got it?
Yep.
Seif Beis. Ein mevarchin al hayarech. This is a very difficult to understand halacha right here. Ein mevarchin al hayarech. You cannot do Kiddush Levana. You should not do Kiddush Levana. Elo b'motzai Shabbos. You should only do it on Motzai Shabbos. Kishehu mevusam, which literally means mevusam means good smelling. Besamim, cologne. Ubegadav noim, wearing nice clothing. Now let's stop here for a second. So the Mishnah Berurah says on the bottom of Reish Pei Vav Amud Aleph. Ein mevarchin, says the Chavetz Chaim, this is only a mitzvah min amuvcherhu. This is not that you can't do it except for Motzei Shabbos. You could do it other times too. But the mitzvah min amuvcher is to do it Motzei Shabbos. Uchidmisayim b'hagal, like the Rabbah is going to say. Now the Kosav, the Sefer Magid Meisharim, it's brought down in the Sefer Magid Meisharim. You know what the Sefer Magid Meisharim is? The Sefer Magid Meisharim is a fascinating Sefer. The Sefer Magid Meisharim was written by Rabbi Yosef Kairo. It was written by the Mechaber, but it is what he learnt from his Chavrusa, the Malach. The Rabbi Yosef Kairo, the Mechaber, had some kind of heavenly Chavrusa. He had, whether it was a Malach, or it was Eliyahu Hanavi, exactly what it was, I'm not sure. But the Magid Meisharim, when he wrote the Magid Meisharim, he said, this is what I learnt with my Chavrusa min hashamayim. And in the Magid Meisharim he writes, Siman zeh yihiyeh b'yadcha, you should take this sign in your hand, b'chodesh shetavarchu birchas halavana b'motzai Shabbos, on a month that you do Kiddush Levana on a Motzei Shabbos, timtzu hatzlacha, you will have hatzlacha. U'gishet tiskase v'tisalim v'lo yuchlu levarech, but if the moon is covered up and hidden and you cannot be mekadosh Levana on Motzei Shabbos, then chas v'chalila, that month will not be a mutzlach month. That's what the Magid Meisharim says. Ois katan hey ela b'motzai Shabbos. You should do Kiddush Levana on Motzei Shabbos. For hu adin b'motzai Yom Tov. Same thing would be true on Motzei Yom Tov. Motzei Yom Tov, you're also wearing Big Day Shabbos. Now it's pointed out that this idea of Motzei Yom Tov is really only negay on Shavuos, because you can't do Kiddush Levana on Motzei Pesach and Motzei, so it gets after the 15th of the month. So you can't do Kiddush Levana then. So when could it be? It can only really be on Shavuos and on Yom Kippur. Also be Yom Kippur also. We'll get to Yom Kippur. Okay. Now, what's difficult to understand over here is that the Mechaber says, Kishehu Mavusam. Now, when it comes to the concept of a man being Mavusam, we have a Beferish Gemara in Brachas that says, G'nayihu l'tamil chacham, leitzei bashuk kishehu mavusam. A tamil chacham is not supposed to go out into the shuk mavusam. So what does it mean over here that you should be mekadosh levana Motzei Shabbos kishehu mavusam? To me, I have to tell you, it's a pella that the Mishnah Berurah doesn't talk about it, that the Berurah doesn't talk about it. Nobody talks about it. I'm looking at this and I'm scratching my head and I'm trying to think, how is it that nobody on the page talks about this? So I did some research into it, and it turns out that this idea, this memra, that you should do it on Motzei Shabbos kishu mavusam ubegadav noim, this comes from Masechtas Seifrim. Masechtas Seifrim is one of the Masechtas Ketanas, and over there the lashon in Masechtas Seifrim is kishu mavusam. So it was taken from Masechtas Seifrim. Okay, you have the Gemara in Brachas, G'nayu l'tamil chacham, and you have Gemaras and Brachas that talk about Kiddush Levana. So, in the back, by the Rif, the Talmidei Rabbeinu Yaina brings down this mimer from Masechtas Seifrim and has two different possible pshatim in Kishehu Mavusam. He says that there's another girsa, b'motzai Shabbos kishet tispasem. Not Kishehu Mavusam, kishet tispasem. And says the Talmidei Rabbeinu Yaina that one pshat is that it means that you should do Kiddush Levana on Motzei Shabbos when you make the bracha on Besamim. But he asks the kasha right away, but he doesn't understand. Why are we linking Kiddush Levana to Motzei Shabbos. What's the link between Motzei Shabbos and Kiddush Levana? So he has another pshat that Kishetisbasem means we know that the letter sin and the letter samach are interchangeable. And in Aramaic, very often we use the letter samach instead of the letter sin. So he brings down the Gemara that says livisume kala, that when you sing when somebody sings sweetly, that's called livsume kala. So bisum is a reference to mesikus, to sweetness. So he says kishu tispasem is a reference to the levana. You should make Kiddush Levana on Motzei Shabbos, but when could you make Kiddush Levana on Motzei Shabbos? It has to be Kishet Tispasem. It has to be when the light of the moon is sweet. What does that mean when the light of the moon is sweet? When it's giving enough light that you could be Nen Ela Oiroi. The other pshat that he has, also based on Livsume, is he brings down a Gemara, somebody builds Bisume Libre. And the Gemara over there is talking about a chuppah. And the Lashon is Lipsume. And it's a reference that the moon should be like a chuppah. What does it mean? When the moon is covering you with light. And again, it's a reference that you can't make Kiddush Levana until there's sufficient light from the moon. The moon has to be big enough. So that's the way they're learning. They're learning that Kishu Mavusim is a Rishon, Talmidei Rabbeinu Yaina. It's not learning that Kishu Mavusam is going on the person, that the person is Mavusam. It means that it's going on the Ar of the Levana. The Ar of Levana is Mavusam. But what does it mean? Ubegadav Naim. It should say b'Motzei Shabbos kishehu bebegadim Naim u kishehu Mavusam. So it's a little tricky. It's a little difficult to understand. But that's what it says in the Talmidei Rabbeinu Yaina. Okay. Says the Ramah, Haga, v'dafka im leil Motzei Shabbos hu kaidam asar b'chaydish. The only time that you should wait for Motzei Shabbos to do Kiddush Levana is if that Motzei Shabbos is going to be before the 10th of the month. Az mamtinin on Motzei Shabbos. Then you could wait for Motzei Shabbos. Aval imu achakach. But if the Shabbos is going to be after the 10th of the month, ein mamtinin on Motzei Shabbos, then we're not going to wait till Motzei Shabbos. Maybe you'll have 2 or 3 or 4 days that'll be cloudy, and you won't see the moon, and you'll lose the opportunity to be Mekadosh Levana. So this Ramah is saying, it's very nice to wait for Motzei Shabbos. There's a reason to wait for Motzei Shabbos. But don't wait for Motzei Shabbos past the 10th of the month, because now you're taking a risk that you won't be able to do Kiddush Levana at all. It's interesting, my son was in from Cleveland today, and he told me that in Cleveland, they're very makpid as soon as they can be Mekadosh Levana, because it's often cloudy. They have the lake effect weather, because they're right next to Lake Erie. So the humidity is always much higher. During the winter, they have constant snow, lake effect snow. So it's very often cloudy, and they're Mekadosh Levana as soon as they can be Mekadosh Levana. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Ice Cut and Vav, Avalim Achakach, if it's later than the 10th of the month, Ritzayna Loimar, Shaleil Motzei Shabbos Hu Leil Achad Osar, if the night of Motzei Shabbos is the night going into the 11th day of the month, and Lahamtin, you can't wait. Teshemet Tiskasa Ba'avim, because now maybe it'll get cloudy. V'gam Ba'arba Leil Achakach, and the 4 coming days will also be cloudy. Well, if Yimasha Kasav B'Siv Gimel B'Hagah, the amount of time that you have to worry is 5 nights, ad chatzi esrim v'tisha yom, coming to half of 29 days, shtei mesrei shais, 12 hours, tavshin tzadikimel chalakim, 793 chalakim imolad. That's when the half of the month, that's when you hit the latter half of the month. When you go beyond 29 days, 12 hours, 793 chalakim, that's when you're getting into the zone where you no longer can be Mekadosh Levana. So you have to make sure that you're not getting too close to that. Now, if you take a look over here, let's take a look in the Biur Halacha, Dibra Maschil Ella. He says over here, the Chavetz Chaim, V'da, you should know, the Medina, mutar lekadesh, you got it? Ella. It's the first one in Seif Beis. The Medina mutar lekadesh, Me'ikar adin, you're allowed to do Kiddush Levana, afilu b'yechidi, even alone. Kamosha kasav apri chadash, v'choshkein deloi ba yasara, you certainly don't need a minion. Elu de lachatchila mitzvah la'asaisa b'roivam. But lachatchila you should do it b'roivam, ki b'roivam hadras melech. Ulahachi, therefore, im yedea sheyizdamid lo levarich ba'asara la'achar eze yomim ad leil asiri. If, let's say, it's now the 4th day of the month, and you know that between now and the 10th of the month you'll have a chance to do Kiddush Levana with a minion, tzarich lahamtin. You should wait to do it b'roivam, because b'roivam is a hiddur. The yoiser loy, but you shouldn't wait later than the 10th day of the month. The same way the Ramah is saying don't wait later than the 10th day of the month for Motzei Shabbos, don't wait later than the 10th day of the month for b'roivam hadras melech. U'kamosha kasav b'hagal l'inyan Motzei Shabbos. Ken kasav b'sefer Eishal Avram. Ulufi masha ichiach ha'chayodam b'chlal samechesif yud aleph debishloisha nami nikra b'roivam. The Chayodam says that when again to Kiddush Levana, even 3 is considered Roivam Hadras Melech. Ein tzarich b'shvel asar lahamtin ad leil asiri. You shouldn't wait even to the 10th day for a minion, as long as you have 3. Ubefrat b'chayrif b'mei ha'anonim. Certainly, if it's during the winter, during a cloudy time. So far we have over here 2 concepts, reasons why you should wait to do Kiddush Levana. We have Motzei Shabbos, and now we just had Roivam Hadras Melech. Now, in the next Bir Halacha, the Motzei Shabbos, the Chavetz Chaim brings down, V'das HaBach, it's the opinion of the Bach, Shaloi lahachmitz ha-mitzvah ad Motzei Shabbos, that you shouldn't wait until Motzei Shabbos, because mitzvah b'al yadai al tachmitzena. Ela achar she'avru aleh shloisha yamim me'amoilid mekachin. As soon as it's 3 days after the moilid, you should do Kiddush Levana. V'chein kasav b'maiseh Rav. And so they bring down from the Maiseh Rav Amiyosad al Nagas Hagra, Vayin b'Seif HaSiman. So over here, we're saying, no, hurry up, do it right away. Now, I'll speak more about this, but let's go a little bit weiter first. Continues the Ramah. The Ramah says, second line from the bottom, Ukeshemekachin oisa b'choil. If you're doing Kiddush Levana during the week, yesh lilbaish begadim noim. You should wear nice clothing when you do Kiddush Levana. Because again, there's a reason for Hiddur Mitzvah. You're doing a mitzvah, you should wear begadim noim. But the Mishnah Berurah says a nice cut in Zayin, begadim noim. V'akshav ein noyagin l'daktik bazeh. Already in his days, people weren't medaktik in this. We don't seem to worry about it. Weiter in the Ramah, bottom line. Ein mekachin alavana kaidem Tisha B'Av. We don't do Kiddush Levana before Tisha B'Av. V'loi kaidem Yom HaKippurim, and not before Yom Kippur. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Ais Katan Ches, kaidem Tisha B'Av. Don't do Kiddush Levana before Tisha B'Av. Why? Deshruyin ba'avelus, because you're not besimcha, and you're supposed to do a mitzvah besimcha. So don't do it before Tisha B'Av. That's the zman of avelus. Ais Katan Tes, kaidem Yom Kippurim. Don't do it before Yom Kippur. The gam kein uyamin mikayach hadin, because then we're nervous about the Yom Hadin. Ve'ein shruyin besimcha, and again we're not shari besimcha. V'ayin b'bir halacha. Okay, so now we're waiting to do Kiddush Levana. We're waiting until after Tisha B'Av, and we're waiting until after Yom Kippur.
On the other hand, you want to have more merits.
So since you mentioned it, let's look at the Bir Halacha on the bottom. By me, it's on the bottom of Reish Pei Vav Amud Beis. Dibur Hamascha V'loi Kaidim Yom HaKippurim. Says the Bir Halacha. V'das HaLavush, the opinion of the Lavush is the Adarabah. Yesh Lo L'Kayim HaMitzvah B'Yamim Ka'elu. You certainly should do the mitzvah of Kiddush Levana during Aseres Yimei Tshuva, Shetluyin V'Oimdin, because your judgment is hanging. Upen Zechus Echad Yachri HaKaf. And maybe just the extra schuf of Kiddush Levana will put you over to the Kaf Schus. V'chein Noita Das Beis Meir. And that's what the Beis Meir says you should do. Okay. Continues the Ramah, the top line of Reish Pei Zayin Amud Aleph. Uv'maitzai Yom HaKippur Mekachin Oisa. A good time to do Kiddush Levana is on Motzei Yom Kippur. Da'az Shairin B'Simcha, because that's a very simchadika time. Says, there's no Mishnah Berurah on this. Aval loy b'maitzai Tisha B'Av, but you should not be Mekadosh Levana on Motzei Tisha B'Av, oy shar tainus, or on Motzei of any other tainus. Okay, let's see the Mishnah Berurah is cutting yud. Avaloi b'motzai Tisha B'av, the Ein Shrin B'Simcha. Because even on Motzai Tisha B'av, you're not Shari B'Simcha, because we know that we have certain halachas of Avelus that run through Chatzais of Yud. So you're still not Shari B'Simcha. V'yavarchu b'yamim sha'achareh. So you should wait till the days afterwards. Umavur v'darkei Moshe, Tim Tisha B'av chal b'yom chamishi, if Tisha B'av falls out on Thursday, yesh lai lahamten on Motzai Shabbos shu shtei masal l'chaydish. You should wait for Motzai Shabbos, even though Motzai Shabbos is going to be the 12th day of the month. Okay, now, we have all of these different reasons over here why you might want to wait to push off
What else can you do?
Kiddush Levana.
Friday night we don't do.
Friday night we don't do. Friday
So
night we
if
don't
it
do.
comes out, it says it comes out Thursday,
Right.
then what's the Shabbos?
Right. There's an interesting Gemara in Yavamas. We know the Gemara says that when it comes to Yibum, the mitzvah is on the Bechar. The Bechar is the one who lechatchila is supposed to be is supposed to do Yibum. If the Bechar doesn't want to, then somebody else can. If the Bechar is not around, one of the other brothers can. So the Gemara says, what do you do if the Bechar is in Medina Sayyam? Bechar is overseas. So the Gemara says you don't wait for the Bechar. You don't wait for the Bechar to come back from overseas, because there's a mitzvah to be done. You got to do the mitzvah. This Gemara sparks off a machlokes rishonim. What lesson do you take from this Gemara? The Gemara talks about the case if the Bechar is in Medina's Hayam. What if you're in Staten Island and the Bechar is in Borough Park? What if you're in Staten Island and the Bechar is in Lakewood? What if you're in Staten Island and the Bechar is in Cleveland? And he could be here in 7 hours or in 8 hours. So did the Gemara pick on Medina Sayyam b'dafka? Medina Sayyam, you don't wait for the Bechar, because Medina Sayyam is traveling, especially in the days of the Gemara, Medina Sayyam could be traveling for a month, right? But if he's in the next town, so it'll take him an hour to get here, even if it'll take him a day to get here. Where's the line? So there are those Rishonim that want to say that Medina Sayyam is dafka, and there are those Rishonim that want to say that Medina Sayyam is not dafka. Doesn't have to be Medina Sayyam. There's a mitzvah to be done now, you do the mitzvah now. So the Rishus Atzal in the Dibris, not in the Nigris, in the Dibris, in the Dibris Moshe he has Shiurim. The Shiurim could be 14, 15 pages. And then he has Ha'aras. Ha'aras are small thoughts. So in the Ha'ara, the Rishus Atzal writes that you see from this Gemara in Yavamas that Zrizin Makdimin trumps Hider Mitzvah. Hider Mitzvah is that the Bechar should do it. Zrizin Makdimin trumps Hider Mitzvah, and therefore he brings down this halacha of doing Kiddush Levana on Motzei Shabbos. The makar for doing Kiddush Levana on Motzei Shabbos, I said, is Gemara Masechta Seifrim. The Gemara Masechta Seifrim, the Brisa in Masechta Seifrim, says do it on Motzei Shabbos. The Rishus Atzal writes in the Hara, he says, Tamua. The Brisa in Masechta Seifrim is a Tamua. It's a Tamia. He said, what are you waiting for Motzei Shabbos? Mitzvah Bali Adam Tak Mitzana. If it's time to do Kiddush Levana, do it now. And he writes also the same thing for other Hidurim. You don't wait for a Hidur Mitzvah. And he writes, Zrizin Makdimin is also a Hidur Mitzvah. So who says this Hidur is bigger than that Hidur? Do this Hidur instead of doing that Hidur. Now, I don't have a specific Meiser Rav from the Rishus Atzal when it comes to Kiddush Levana, of waiting or not waiting. I believe in Yeshiva we did Kiddush Levana even before Tisha B'Av. We didn't wait necessarily for after Tisha B'Av. Matzah Yom Kippur, the Rishus Atzal wasn't happy with doing Kiddush Levana right after Ma'ariv on Matzah Yom Kippur, because he said the Olam has to go eat. And I know one time they wanted to dance. You know, there are certain places where they dance Matzah Yom Kippur. So Matzah Yom Kippur, right away after Ma'ariv, an Olam started a Rikida in the Bismedrish, and the Rishus Atzal was walking out, and he banged on the bima, and he said, "Nay, it's a shayt tzeit to gas." And he said to everybody to go eat. You don't hold people up from eating. We're going to see another halacha here. We just said that you don't do it on a Matzah Tainus, but on Matzah Yom Kippur, he didn't want. He said, the Olam has to go eat. So it would seem from this Dibris Moshe, it would seem from this Ha'ara, that you don't hold up Kiddush Levana for any Hidur Mitzvah. You wouldn't hold it up Now, I don't know that means that the instant it's after the Moilid, you should run out in your front yard and you should do Kiddush Levana. If you know that the next night by Ma'ariv you're going to have at least 3 people to do Kiddush Levana with, and it's good weather, and it happens very rarely that we mamish can't do Kiddush Levana in our locale, but the Rishon Zatzal seems to be very makpid on the mitzvah Bal Yon al Tachmitzena. I didn't have a chance to ask a Reuven. I wanted to ask a Reuven about it, but I could tell you, for example, Reuven, the minute Mincha is over on Shabbos afternoon, Reuven is being Mavis Sedra the next parsha. If he doesn't finish being Mavis Sedra between Mincha and Ma'ariv on Shabbos afternoon, then Motzei Shabbos after Ma'ariv, he's sitting in his study and he's being Mavis Sedra. It kemat never happens that he's not finished being Mavis Sedra Motzei Shabbos. For the next parsha. And he says, to him it's a plea.
Yeah.
He says people come to him every year before Simchas Torah with shilas that they have to finish. They don't remember if they did finish being Mavis Sedra on this parsha or not. And the Reuben always looks at me and he says, I don't understand. He said, it never happened. How does it ever happen? Motzei Shabbos, you sit down, you Mavis Sedra. By him, the mitzvah is, you have a mitzvah now, you got to do it. You can't wait. You got a mitzvah now. I was looking for the tshuva. I remember there's also a tshuva in the Igris. I wanted to look at the tshuva today so I could get the exact thing. I couldn't find it today. But there is a tshuva where somebody wrote a shaila that he's going for a long drive. And he's going to something he has to do, something he has to take care of. And it's already after Mincha G'dayla, so he could have a Mincha now. Or he could wait till later. And there's a good chance that he'll get a minion later, this, that. I think the Shiloh was more, I think the way the Shiloh was asked, it was, I could daven mincha now, but now I'm torrid, now I'm fachated, or I could daven mincha later, and later I'll be ruig, but I don't know if I'll get a minion, and the Rosh Hashanah was very, if you can daven mincha now, daven mincha now. Don't mitzvah bal yad al tach mitzvah. When there's a mitzvah, and the way Reuven told me once, he says you have to look at it. That pshat is that when you have a mitzvah to do, it means that there's something the Rebbeinu Shalom was waiting for you to do. If there's something that the Rebbeinu Shalom was waiting for you to do, you don't keep the Rebbeinu Shalom waiting. If the Rebbeinu Shalom, you can do it now. You do it now. You don't wait around. That's the
same thing every Shabbos. When I come home from davening in the morning, I go at least till Shem, just to start. Why? Because you come back from Mincha, they're going to be reading it. You have to know what the next parsha is, at least till then. I made it my habit every week, but this is what I do.
That what? When do you do it?
When I come home from Shabbos morning, from davening.
What, to be Mavisedra for the next week?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can.
But you just said that he does the whole parsha.
After Mincha.
Oh, I do it in the
You need the tzibur. You need
because I have to know when it comes to Mincha.
Yeah, but to be Yotzeh Shtein Mikra V'Echad Targum, it has to be after the tzibur already starts.
I do it because I want.
Now it could be though.
Listen to the Balkoira, I want
if
to know
it's after Mincha G'dayla, so already you can say it to somebody somewhere is already davening. Okay. Let's see if we could squeeze in Ois Katan Yud Aleph here. The Ramah said that you also should not do Kiddush Levana on the Motzai of any other times. And it says Das Atzmai. This was the Ramah's own opinion. So the Mishnah Berurah says there are nice Katan Yud Aleph, Ois Shar Tainis. Kegayinim loy Kiddush B'Chodesh Teves. Let's say you didn't do Kiddush Levana in Teves, Ad Tainis, until Asar B'Teves. You could have done it before, but you didn't. Ein loy l'kadosh achar tainis. Don't do it motzei tainis. Eliyamtin al alayla shala achareh. Wait for the next night, shehu shtem asa l'chodesh, which is going to be the 12th of the month. Umikamakam im erazeh b'chodesh Adar. If it happens in Adar, shaloi kitchu at tainis Esther, where you weren't mekadosh levana until tainis Esther. Now tainis Esther is Yud Gimel, so that means it's Yud Gimel, and you weren't yet mekadosh levana. Kasav Taz. So the Taz says, then you should do it Motzei Tainis Kevin Chashoy Veris. I'm not going to tell you that going into the 14th of the month you should wait because it's a Motzei Tainis. You're already getting into dangerous territory. Now, many bring down that they don't know why the Taz had to say this. The whole reason you don't do Kiddush Lavan on a Motzei Tainus is because you're hungry and it's not a Simcha Dika time. But Motzei Tainus Esther is Purim. Motzei Tainus Esther, you Shari B'Simcha. So you don't need another reason why you should do Kiddush Lavan then, because they veris. There's no reason not to. You're B'Simcha.
It's also different. The time starts in the morning, not the night before.
V'hinei kol zeh l'das Ramah. Aval das achrayim b'chol zeh de b'katchen afilu b'motzei Tisha B'av. Most achrayim seem to say that even Motzei Tisha B'av you could do Kiddush Levana. V'chol sheked b'shar tainus, certainly on any other tainus, the Motzei any other tainus. Elo dekasser with the tzarach l'tayim kaida, but you should eat something first. Of a Maitzah Yom Kippurim mitach shesmeichin sheyatzu b'dimus, and Motzei Kippur, where everybody is sameach because they figured that they came out of the din b'kaf schos mekatchen av kaida m'shiyitamu. Then you could do Kiddush Levana even before you eat something. Like I said, the Rishiv Zatzal wasn't happy with that. Umiu, b'maitzai Tisha B'av tzarech lizar shalai kaddish b'lim and olam. Matzai Tisha B'av, you have another problem. You don't want to do Kiddush Levana not wearing shoes. That's not, we said you're supposed to be wearing Big Day Shabbos, certainly you shouldn't do it barefoot. Ule'inyan aval, emas b'kaddish. When does an aval do Kiddush Levana? An aval that was sitting Shiva. Das Magen Avram, the opinion of the Magen Avram is Dem Yashlam Avelusai Kaidam Asiri B'Chaydish. If his Yemei Avelus are going to end, if the Shiva is going to end before the 10th of the month, Yamtin Yikadish Palel Asiri, you should wait till after Shiva. Avalim Kala Avelusai Ba'Asiri B'Chaydish, but if his Shiva is not over until the 10th, Layamtin Ad Leil Achadasar, he shouldn't wait until the 11th. Umutav Shiyikadish Alavana B'Serch Yemei Avelusai. Now, in the Bir Halacha on the previous daf, the Chavetz Chaim brings down this Magen Avram, long Bir Halacha over here, and he says it's a pella. The Das Baal Shar Ephraim, the opinion of the Shar Ephraim is if there's time after the Me'avl is fine, even in the middle of Shiva. And he could leave the house to go outside to be Mekadosh Levana. The Ayin Bir Halacha, and you should look in the Bir Halacha. And we'll stop over here.
So you see, the shoes